صلى الله عليك يا مولاي يا رسول الله صلى الله عليك أيها البشير الذي والسراج المنير السلام عليك وعلى ابنك المظلوم الشهيد أبا عبد الله الحسين إلهي جعلنا ممن خدم الحسين وناصر الحسين يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي فنفوز فوزا عظيما صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As you can see, alhamdulillah, I'm still sick, still voiceless, but inshaAllah I'm going to try as much as I can, as hard as I can, to get this in the best of manners. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam, after the tragedy of Karbala, she's taken captive from place to place, from palace to palace. In the palace of Kufa, Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad comes and looks at her and he asks her. This is after the tragedy has happened to her, her brothers, and to her family, and the women are still with her, they're still being held captive. And he asks her, how do you feel? What do you think? Do you see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala done to you and your family? If you see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he asks her, كيف رأيت فعل ربك بأهل بيتك? How do you look at that? What's the way you perceive the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has treated you and your family? And she looks and she starts to remember her brother, Al-Fadl Abbas, and the arrow in his eye. And she remembers the cuff of Al-Fadl Abbas on the ground. And she remembers the children screaming and running from tent to tent, and the tent on fire. She remembers and remembers and remembers and remembers. And then what does she come up with at the end? What does she say? مَا رَأَيْتُ إِلَّا جَمِيلًا. I have not seen anything but beauty. Nothing except beauty. So one might come and ask, everything, Zainab, everything you saw on a physical level, what's the beauty? What's the beauty? All it was death and blood and, you know. What's beautiful about that? So to be able to, inshaAllah, answer this and understand this, that's our topic tonight, inshaAllah, is how do we perceive things? First, I will begin. First, with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I'm going to put forward a few questions, and I'm going to answer the common answer to these questions, and then we'll continue from there. Question number one. What's more beautiful? A perfectly straight line or a curved line? A perfectly straight line or a curved line? The common answer would be a perfectly straight line. That's the common answer, correct? What's better? The cutting of a hand? So if I were to cut my hand, is that a good thing or a bad thing? The normal human being would answer, no, it's a bad thing. Third question, are traffic lights good or bad? Of course, they're bad, huh? Are traffic lights good or bad? Exactly, they're good. But someone might come and say, oh, I've had an experience with a traffic light where it once stuffed up and my son died from it, so I don't like traffic lights. Because of a past experience that he's had with a traffic light, he comes or she comes and says, I don't like traffic lights. And it happens in our day-to-day life. So those are the answers. But really and truly, if we want to come down, push comes to shove, and really come down to it, every single one of these answers is incorrect. You ask me why? Reason B. is that the person that answered these questions is answering from his context, his or her context. The person that's answering this question is answering within his scenario, with his understanding. The person that's answering this question is looking at one side of the picture, one dot of the picture. He's not looking at the whole picture, correct? That's the person. So, for example, the perfect straight line. If I were to come and say, hey, you like perfect straight lines? You think that's better? Okay, what if your eyebrows were perfectly straight? You'd be like, la la la. Now the perfection of my eyebrows are them being curved. Correct? Being curved, that's the perfection of my eyebrow. So that's a better line. The line has to be curved for it to be good. The context has changed. You haven't looked at the beginning. The person that answered perfectly straight line wasn't looking from the bigger picture. He was looking from his perspective. Oh, I like perfect straight lines. But when I asked him about the eyebrows, like, correct? Okay, cutting off a hand. If I were to ask every human being, what do you think of if I were to cut off my hand right now? Or, generally speaking, cutting off one's hand, is it good or bad? Generally they'll tell me no, it's a bad thing. But then I come and say, wait a second. What if the person has a sickness? And this sickness, let's say his hand is a poison to this sickness. So if his hand were to remain connected to his body, he'll die. What's the first thing he says? Cut off my hand, please. Although it's a negative thing, the context that I put him in, the picture that I put him in now, the first thing he's going to tell me is, please cut off my hand. And the mother of this person is going to, please cut off my child's hand. Although, in the beginning we said it's a bad thing, but as soon as we zoom down, we look, okay, for every action, it depends on the scenario and the context that it's in, and the way we perceive the action itself, the way we perceive cutting off one's hand or a perfect line. So after we understood this, we understood that it's contextual. Then we go to the third question, a traffic light. A person who comes and says, oh, I don't like traffic lights because, X or Y, my son or my husband or my wife died on a traffic light because of a mess up in the traffic light. I'll tell you, okay, I understand. But generally speaking, does a traffic light save lives or not? Generally speaking, on a wider scale, on a bigger picture, the traffic light, if you were to remove your context and remove your emotions, the traffic light is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. So, look at the bigger picture. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa alaykum. So you don't want to walk and fall into that step and into that. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa alaykum. You don't want to fall into the trap of generalizing something where in reality I have to look at the bigger picture. Don't look at the small. If I were to say, for example, let's say you looked at a picture and you zoomed in, and you see a black dot. You're like, oh wallah man, it's black and whatnot. Because you have zoomed in so much and you haven't looked at the bigger picture. If you were to zoom out, what do you see? For example, this black dot is a dot on one's face, for example, which beautifies it, makes it beautiful, makes her beautiful. But because you zoomed in so much, you didn't see the beauty of this black dot. As soon as you look from an outside perspective, you're like, oh wallah, this black dot brings beauty to the whole picture. So after we understood this, now we go to the second point. Let's look at how the Quran explains to us and shows us and portrays to us an example of how the angels themselves looked at the picture from their position, from their perspective. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. أعوذ بالله تعالى من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال الله تعالى وإذ قال ربك للملائكة إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة قالوا أتجعل فيها من يفسد فيها ويسفك الدماء ونحن نسبح بحمدك ونقدس لك قال إني أعلم ما لا تعلمون. Basically, it's a conversation between the angels and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The angels, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, I am going to create on earth a khalifa, which is Nabi Adam alayhi salam, a human being. So he tells them, I'm going to do this. As soon as they hear that, what do they say? The malaika, they say, أَتَجْعَلُ فِيهَا مَنْ يُفْسِدُ فِيهَا وَيُسْفِكُ الدِّمَاء. Are you going to create a being who will be a menace to society, who will cause bloodshed and spread negative vibes and whatnot. And he tells them, إِنِّي أَعْلَمُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. I know what you do not know. That's the first answer. He doesn't tell them, no, they're not going to cure and they're not going to shed blood. And no, he just, I know what you do not know. So he continues. وعلم آدم الأسماء كلها ثم عرضهم على الملائكة فقالوا أنبئوني بأسماء هؤلاء إن كنتم صادقين. So what he does is, basically, now he tests the angels. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells them, alright, I have created Adam. I created Adam alayhi salam. And I have taught him things. I have taught him names. In Ahadith they say these names are Fatima wa Abiha wa Baliha wa Biniha wa Sirru. Those are the 5 names. So Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Sayyidina Zahra alayhi salam, Imam Ali alayhi salam, Sayyid Imam Hassan alayhi salam, Hussein alayhi salam. These are the 5 names that Nabi Adam alayhi salam was taught. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if you think that you're looking at the big picture, when you say yufsidu fiha or yusfiku dima and he was caused bloodshed, if you think that you're looking at the bigger picture, okay, then tell me the 5 names. Tell me the names. You don't know the names. فَعَلَّمْ Adam. Then Adam comes and tells him. Continues the ayah. He says, if you are from the Sadiqeen, you tell me the names, and you tell him the names. قَالُوا سُبْحَانَكَ. This is now the angels replying. سُبْحَانَكَ لَا عِلْمَ لَنَا إِلَّا مَا عَلَّمْتَنَا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْعَلِيمُ الْحَكِيمُ. Ya Allah, subhanallah. We don't know anything. Basically, they tell us, we don't know anything. We only know what you have told us, Ya Allah. So now we're going to zoom out, we're going to take back what we said, because we looked at the little black dot, but we didn't look at what's going to happen on a wide scale. So then he says, قال يا آدم أنبئهم بأسمائهم فلما أنبأهم بأسمائهم قال ألم أقل لكم إني أعلم ما لا تعلمون أني أعلم غيب السماوات والأرض وأعلم ما تبدون وما كنتم تنكرون. So now basically he's telling him, Ya Adam, tell him what I want you to tell him. He tells him and then he says, didn't I tell you that I know what you don't know? I know that, غيب السماوات, I know the unseen behind the skies and the earth. And basically, I know the whole picture. I have the whole picture with me. You know one black dot. So keep it aside. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Now one might come and say, but wait, the Malaika, the angels were correct, they were right. They were right. There has been bloodshed, and history proves this, and present times prove this. There has been bloodshed, and there has been many problems and murders and whatnot in society and menaces and anything you want. There has been what the Malaika were talking about. Like, yeah, does that mean that this is the whole picture? Because also, even though there was deaths and there was bloodshed and whatnot, there was World War I, there was World War II, and there was Karbala, but there was Muhammad sallallahu alaihi as well. There was Rasulullah, there was Imam Ali alayhi salam, there was the A'imma. There was, and there is Sahib al-Zaman, Ajrullah Faraja. يملأ الأرض قسطا وعدلا بعدما ملئت ظلما وجورا. He will fill the land with justice after it's been spread with injustice and oppression. So at one stage, O angels, there's going to come a time we're going to be like, yeah, we don't know. Now we want to go to the second point in this talk, inshaAllah, which is, we said now that if I wanted to look at a specific thing, the way I perceive it is I have to perceive it from a whole from outside. I have to come and zoom out and look at the whole picture, correct? So now I want to come and look at bala, the concept of bala. How do we look at bala? And for example, bala is hardship. An example of hardship, and many of us know many examples of hardship. For example, being weak, being poor, being sick, volcanoes, losing a child, hurting your arm, breaking your leg. These are all bala'at. And I can keep going. Obviously, from what we've said, that everything we just said, obviously there's a negative aspect of breaking my leg, Of course there's a negative aspect of being sick. Of course there's a negative aspect of my son dying, or my daughter dying, or my friend dying. Of course there's a negative aspect of a volcano erupting. Yeah. But is that the whole picture? That's a question. Is the negative aspect of this bala the whole picture? Definitely not. So what I'm going to talk about now is the positives of the bala. Because the negatives are clear. And if I break my leg, obviously I can't walk, and it's going to affect my work, and it's affect my job, it's going to affect my study and whatnot. I can't play soccer, That's if I break my leg. If I break my arm, obviously, I can't do many things like, study as well, write. Many things I can't do with my arm. Also, if there's a volcano erupts, everyone can, put their hand on many hardships that will come with a volcano erupting. So, there's many negatives. But I want to talk about the positives of breaking my leg. I want to talk about the positives of specific bala'at. I want to talk about the positives of losing my child, the positives of losing my wife or whatnot. Is there a positive? That's the first question. Is there? Obviously yes. Because there's a bigger picture. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most wise. He wouldn't put you in a situation. There's a hadith, for example, that says when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings down bala on the mu'min, on the believer, as soon as He brings down bala, hardship, parallel to bala, He brings down the sabr, the patience with this hardship. Yani Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would never put you in a situation, in a hardship, where you won't be able, you don't have the capability of being patient in this hardship. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is more wise than that. So when He puts you in this hardship, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala breaks Muhammad Dhaini's leg, when Muhammad Dhaini has a broken leg, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given Muhammad Dhaini the patience to work with a broken leg, and the patience to overcome having a broken leg. So, is there advantages and positives? Look here. Alright. What are these advantages and the positives of having bara'ah? Number one, it strengthens your character. Going through hardship strengthens your character. It strengthens you. How many people do we know that went through hardships through their young teens? For example, from losing a mother, or losing a father, or losing a friend, or losing a brother, or losing a sister. Or, for example, being extremely poor. I can give you at least 4 examples of the most richest people nowadays. Richest people, materialistically successful, that went through very bad hardships when they were young. And I've given this example before, and I'll give it again. For example, like many of us have heard of Conor McGregor, for example. Yeah, that boxer. Conor McGregor went through hardships when he was young. He went through a hard time. From being what he was to becoming what he is now. For example, Steve Jobs, being what he was to what he is now. Well, he's dead now, but before he died. Steve Jobs, for example, he became successful, but he went through a very hard time in his young teens, in his young ages. So, going through hardship strengthens your personality. For example, Muhammad, what does he say? He says, paraphrasing the hadith, he says, if I were to show you 2 trees, a tree which is in nature, which is in the forest, and a tree which is in the city, the stronger tree is the one in the forest. It's stronger. The roots are stronger, the branches are stronger. Whereas the one in the city, the one in your house, it's weak. Why, bro? What's the reason? Because the tree in the forest goes through hardship. The tree in the forest goes through strong winds. It goes through some ma'andin animals, some weed animals in the forest. And the tree in the city, every day you feed it water, give it water. That's why you're gonna give it clothes. For example, Adam, he does his little trees. So, because the tree is in a hard and rough and tough and strong environment, it becomes a stronger tree. That's number 1. 2, going through hardship lines or draws your goals in life. I'll give you an example. Someone, might, for example, lose a son, for example. Someone loses a son or loses a brother. And this happens a lot with the teenagers, with the young brothers, with young sisters. They say something that happens, like for example, they lose their little brother. And why did they lose their little brother? It's because the doctor made a mistake. The doctor made a problem when they were taking care of his little brother when he was in hospital. So what he does is, he dedicates his life, even though he went through this hard time and hard bala because he's lost his brother, this certain situation, it drew his future. I want to become a doctor so this doesn't happen again. I want to become a doctor so the thing that happened to my brother doesn't happen to anyone else's brother. And many examples can be given. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what does he say? He says, لَوْ بَسَطَ اللَّهُ الرِّزْقَ لِعِبَادِهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was to give sustenance to his ibad, every single one of abd. And open sustenance, open money, everything basically like an open check, a white check, a blank check. لِعِبَادِهِ. What does he say? لَبَوْا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَكِنْ يُنَزِّلْ بِقَدْرِ مَا يَشَاءُ. Says, even if I were to give Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even if I was to give him everything, if I was to give him a blank check, whatever you want, any rizq you want, you have. He says, even if I were to give them this, they would still want more. Because they don't understand what they want, they don't understand the goals, because they got it easy. They have life easy, they haven't went through hardship. So they don't know what their goals are, they don't know what they're going to do with this, they don't know what they're going to do with that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explains it. And the third point, which is the most important point, and which is the point that we should all be focusing on, which is looking at the bala with a divine scope. Looking at the bala with a judgment day type of scope. Yeah, when I look at someone, for example, that lost his brother, I look at, for example, a mother that's lost her son, and she's being patient about it. If I were to come and say, oh man, wallah, what's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala going to give her on the day of judgment? What's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala going to repay her on the day of judgment? On the day of judgment, this lady, and there's many hadith about a woman that loses a son, or a woman that loses her, who loses the baby in the embryo. There's many examples, many hadith, and many hadith about a person that's sick, for example. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens the doors of rizq. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens the doors of shifa. But what type of shifa, what type of, in the hereafter, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala repays this mu'min in the hereafter. So look at your amal through a divine islam. I'll give you an example of this. A man comes to Imam Al-Huda alayhi salam, okay, and I've given this example before, but it's very important, and I feel like it's very practical as well. A man comes to Imam Al-Huda alayhi salam, and he asks him, he says, Ya Imam, are you infallible? He's like, yes. He's like, what do you mean by infallible? Does that mean you're unable to sin? He says, no, we're able to sin, but we don't sin. He's like, why? This is what I'm talking about, brothers and sisters, by looking at the action through a divine scope. He says, why don't you sin? He says, because the way I see sin, the way we see sin, the way we look at sin is different to the way you look at sin, Habib. What do you mean? He says, the way we look at sin is like this. We look at the sin, the outside, the practical, the dunya action, but we look at it from a divine scope. So this action becomes, it's an iqab. So for example, if someone's doing istiqab in front of us, we don't look at backbiting as an action of someone speaking behind their brother's back. We look at backbiting as if it's someone eating their brother's flesh. That's how we look at backbiting. That's how we see it. So we look at the action as discussed. For example, he continues the hadith. He says, they were walking past a mixed toilet. So a toilet back then, the toilet would be for public. It would be public toilets, yeah? So they're walking past this public toilet, and what does it say outside? It says kamah. In the way it says kamah, which is, everyone knows what it is. Outside the toilet, it's like. So he looks at it and he says, would you eat that? Imam Al-Huda was asking him, would you eat that? And he looks at him and says, no. He says, can you eat that? Like, are you able to eat that? He said, yes, I'm able to eat that. Like, I have, physically, I'm capable. He's like, well, would you? He said, no. He said, why not? He says, because it's disgusting. Oh. Because that's the way we look at sin. We look at sin through a divine scope. We look at sin as if it's disgusting. We look at bala as if it's rizqah. Bala is rahmah. Another example. Sallallahu alaihi Muhammad. This is very practical. It's a very nice example. Let's say I'm going back to Lebanon. Okay. So I tell my family I arrive at 3 p.m. I have a transit flight in France. Okay. My transit is in France, and I have to wait there for 3 hours. 3 hours. So I arrive to France, and I have 3 hours to go back to Beirut, and they look at me, and they're like, I'm sorry, we're sorry, there's been a delay on the flight, you have to wait another 10 hours in France. What do I do straight away? You know, I'm hawza, and I, start screaming, 10 hours, 13 hours, 13 hours in France, by myself, I don't know anyone, people saying, je m'appelle, I don't speak French. So what do? The way I react is dependent on the situation, correct? Okay, now I'm going to change the scenario. Let's say someone were to tell me, okay, your transit flight, there has been a delay. You do have to wait 13 hours, but wait a second. For every hour you wait, you make $5,000 euro. Wallah, 2 days. Wait for every hour, $5,000 euro, 4,000 euros, sorry. I wait 10, 15, 20, 2, 3 days, I don't care. You know what I mean? But it continues. And for every hit that someone hits you, you make 10,000. I'll start praying for people to hit me, correct? I'll start praying for people to hit me. What's happening right now? I'm in the same context, but the jaza has changed. The consequence. Now I am actually receiving in return from what? So the problem with us, brothers and sisters, is this: is we go through bala, but we can't see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy in this bala. We can't see the houses that He's given us in Jannah. He can't see the gardens that He's given us in Jannah. We can't see it because we're limited. We're limited. We can't see the iqab and the thawab. We can't see it. So this brother that's waiting for 13 hours in France, he's in Kayif now. He's loving it because he just made over 50,000 euros. You know what I mean? So, I'll give you another example. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. A man, a scholar, is praying for a child. He's praying and praying and praying for a child. Finally, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts his dua and He gives him a child, and it's known that this scholar loves his walad, he loves him, he loves his son, he's connected to him, he loves him so much, and everyone knows that. So one day, he's teaching, this scholar's teaching, and he's very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's teaching, and they come and they tell him, as he's teaching, that your son has passed away. So what does he do? He continues teaching, he doesn't do anything. He finishes his teaching, his lesson, and then after, what does he say? He tells the ones that he's teaching his students, he tells them, alright, alhamdulillah, we finished this, and I want to invite you all to the tashiyah of my son, to the janazah of my son. My son's passed away. And they're like, when did you find out? Oh Allah, I just found out right now. But wait a second, I asked him, but we know that you're connected to your son, you love your son, and you've been praying for your son. And he says, yeah. And that's why I got sad as soon as he told me. But then I realized, what? He says, I realized how much I love my son. And I felt like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing me with this love, because He only wants my love to be connected to Allah straight away, directly to Allah. He doesn't want me to love anyone as much as He loves me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want me to love anyone as much as I should be loving Him. So He said, khalas, I'm going to take him away, I'm going to test his patience. So as soon as I realized that, He said, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. So he accepted the reality. Because he looked at the bala and he realized that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment, he's not going to forget this one. He's not going to forget this. So, in your day-to-day life, if you're walking past someone and they disrespect you, if you're walking past someone and they hurt you, for example, and let's say they're bigger than you and they're stronger than you, and you know, I can't take my revenge in this dunya, I know in the hereafter Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to take my revenge. When someone talks about someone, when you're in a gathering and people begin to backbite, do you know what's happening there and there? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is preparing himself, is preparing on the day of judgment to absolutely smash every single person in that jalsa, even if the person isn't backbiting himself. There's a hadith about it. Because the person that's not backbiting and he's sitting there listening to the people backbiting, he's accepting. He's accepting brothers talking about brothers or sisters talking about sisters behind their back. He's accepting it. So when you're accepting it, you're saying it's okay. When you're saying it's okay, you've become a part of it. You become a part of this backbiting sahara. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment, He's going to take revenge for the person that's being backbitten, and you're going to be one of them. Sallu ala Muhammad wa alayhi Muhammad. There's two more points, inshaAllah, what I'm talking about. Number one is we look at the biographies of our Ahlul Bayt, of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi, and you realize that it's the Ahlul Bayt that went through the most bala. Rasulullah says no prophet, not no prophet only, but no human being was hurt the way I was hurt. Then he says, no prophet was hurt as much as I was hurt. No prophet went through bala as much as I went through bala. But the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi, he is the highest level. He's the perfect creation. He's the highest level of humanity. So the highest level went through the most bala. If you want to write an equation, it's through the bala and through him succeeding in this bala and through him being patient in this bala, it's what made Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It's what made him Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That's what made him him. When Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, they ask him, how do you perceive bala, and who's the one that who cops the most bala basically in life? And firstly he began the prophets, al-anbiya, thumma al-awliya. Begins the most ones that cop bala and hardship are the prophets, and then come the Ahlul Bayt, and then come the mu'mineen and whatnot. That's why you find people that, essentially makhassun bi Allah, or they're not really religious, and you find like most of the time, or not most of the times, a lot of the times, their life is so smooth. Their life is very smooth. It goes so easy. They have it easy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hasn't tested them. But the mu'min, on the other hand, we always say this, والله Allah ليش عم تعمل فيها؟ أنا بؤمن فيك وأنا بحبك وأنا بحب ما علينا، ليش عم تعمل فيها؟ Why do this to me? We always say this as a joke, but in reality, it's because you love Ali ibn Abi Talib, it's because you love Rasulullah, it's because you love Sayyidina Zahra. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests that love. Because you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tests it. If I'm going to put you in a barara right now, are you going to forget me? Or are you going to still be in love with me? Are you still going to cry in salah? Alright, what if now I remove the bala, and now you're living your life smoothly? Are you still going to cry in salah? Are you still going to cry in salah? So, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The strength of the bala, the hardship, the strength of the hardship equals the rank that you will attain here in hereafter. And because we can't see the rank in the hereafter at the moment, because we are blind and we are limited, so it's going to be much harder for us to be able to work wholeheartedly. Correct. So, then you go to Karbala. And you see, when Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam said, "Ma ra'aytu illa jamila," what made her say that? What made her say, "Ma ra'aytu illa jamila"? It's because she looked at Karbala through a divine scope. She looked at Karbala as if it was a gateway to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. She looked at Karbala as if it wasn't for this to happen, if it wasn't for my brother's hands to be chopped off, if it wasn't for my brother's head to be chopped off, it wasn't for us to be taken captive, the woman to be taken captive, the message of Rasulullah, I don't think it would have Muslim, because Yazid would have taken over. Yazid would have been the boss. He would have taken over Islam, and al-Islam salam, like Rasulullah says. Al-Islam says. Al-Islam salam. So she looks at Islam from this scope, from this divine scope. She looks at Islam as if, and she looks at Karbala as if it was something that had to happen for Islam to be upheld. So when she says that it was successful, when she says that what Imam Hussein alayhi salam knew was to happen happened, she says, "Ma ra'aytu illa jamila," because I saw beauty in the message being carried on. I saw beauty in the Risala, the message of Rasulullah being successful over the tyrants of Yazid and Ubaydullah. So ma ra'aytu illa jamila. Then you go to a young boy, for example. In the lights, Sheikh, in the lights. Sallallahu alaihi wa sallam. Then you go to a young boy like Qasim. Qasim alayhi salam, the son of Imam Hassan alayhi salam. His boy, brothers, for the brothers, I think you should all be tuned in right now. Get off your phones, focus with me, try and listen, close your eyes. Try and live this. Try and live Karbala for the next 10 to 15 minutes. This boy, brothers and sisters, was between the ages of 12 and 14 years old, depending on different narrations. He was 12, 13, or 14. Yeah, he was probably just maybe the youngest one here, if he was here. Qasim alayhi salam. The youngest one here. Qasim alayhi salam, he looks towards his auntie Zainab alayhi salam, and he tells her, "Ya Zainab, I want to get a fight for my uncle Hussein." She says, "But you're young." He says, "But I have a letter from my father. He gave it to me." She says, "Zainab alayhi salam takes this letter." He goes to Imam Hussein alayhi salam, says, "Ya Abdullah, Ya Am, I want to fight with you. Let me go be a shaheed." He tells you, "You're young, you're the son of my brother, I love you, I can't bear to see you go through what you want to go through or not." And he tells him, "Ya Abdullah, are you perceiving me as a young child?" He says, "No, but it's your amana from my brother." Anyway, he goes back and he brings this letter, and he gives this letter to Sayyidina Zainab alayhi salam. And he says, "Zainab comes and gives this letter, Ya ibn Akhi, Ya Akhi, Ya Hussein." He says, "What? This is the letter from your brother Hassan." And he's telling you that he wants Hassan to fight. He wrote this before he was married. So he reads this letter, and he begins to cry, and then he asks his brothers and sisters, and Sheikh Mohamed, he asks his brothers and sisters, he says, and this is on our topic, how do you perceive death, Ya Qasim? He says, how do you perceive death? You know what he replies to it? This is a 12-year-old, 13-year-old brothers and sisters. He says, I see death as if it's sweeter than honey. Why? Because he's looking at death in the scope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the divine scope. So I see death as if it's sweeter than honey.
يا عين جودي يا عين جودي بالدموع عاشق الشهادة عاشق الشهادة وسوى الشهادة مضى يرغبي هو القاسم نجل الإمام المجتبى. The night before the day of Ashura, the companions are busy in prayer, preparing to meet their Lord. Al-Qasim alayhi salam comes to his uncle Hussein and he asks him, Uncle, will I also be among the martyrs? Imam Hussein replies to him with a question. He says, Oh Qasim, how do you see that? Qasim alayhi salam replies, Oh uncle, I swear by Allah that the death between your hands is sweeter than honey. Tonight is the night of Al-Qasim, the 13-year-old son of Imam Hassan al-Mushtaba. On the day of Ashura, Ali al-Akbar alayhi salam gave the Fajr Adhan. Everyone prayed Salat. One by one, Imam Hussein's companions went to the battlefield. And they gave their life for their Imam. They all became martyrs. Shaheed Karbala. By the mortar, Imam Hussein alayhi salam was left with only his family. Harun, Muhammad, Qasim, Ali al-Akbar, and Abbas. The companions of Imam al-Hussein, while they were alive, they did not let Imam Hussein's family go to the battlefield. But now, nobody but the family was left. Aoun and Muhammad were keen to help their uncle save Islam. They went to the battlefield but never returned. Qasim, like his cousins before him, wanted to fight. It was his turn to sacrifice himself for Islam and for his uncle Hussein. He went to his mother Ramla. His mother Ramla says to him, Yabni ya Jasim al-Waqi. Yabni ya Jasim al-Waqi. وقالها يا والدة ادعيلي ادعيلي يا والدة ادعيلي أنا رايح يا والدة من غير ما تقليلي عمي وحيد بكربلاء. Oh my son Qasim, my son time for you to go defend your uncle. This is his mother speaking to him. Qasim took his spear and said, Mother, Mother, I am the son of Hassan, Imam al-Hassan al-Mujtaba. Just pray for me. I am going to fight and defend my uncle, and you will not be disappointed. My uncle Hussein is alone in Karbala. Qasim took permission from his mother. He then went to his uncle Hussein to ask for permission. Imam Hussein would not permit him to go. How can Hussein give permission to his brother's son to die? How can he allow a young child to die? He was 13 years old according to some narration. Hussein would not permit him to go because he was so young and he could not bear the thought of anything happening to him. He said, Qasim, you are young. You're the only child of your mother. Qasim, you are my brother's son. I have promised my brother to look after you. Ya Qasim, you are the image of my brother. You remind me of my brother Imam al-Hassan. I cannot allow you to die. Qasim kept asking the Imam alayhi salam, and this went on many times until Qasim went back to the tent his mother was in. Qasim was very disappointed. He went to his mother. When his mother saw her son upset, she gave him a letter that Qasim's father, Imam al-Hassan, had written for him. In the letter, it said, My son Qasim, my son Qasim, a day will come when my brother Hussein will be facing an enemy. That will be the day when Islam will need to be saved by sacrifice. You must represent me on that day. Qasim was pleased to see the letter. He took the letter to his uncle Imam al-Hussein. Imam al-Hussein reads the letter from his brother Imam al-Hassan. It's addressed to Imam al-Hussein. It says, Brother Hussein, a day will come when Islam will need to be saved. Hussein, I will not be alive on that day. However, my son Qasim will be there. It is my wish that Qasim should represent me on that day. Imam Hussein cried at the remembrance of his brother Imam al-Hassan. He said, My dearest Qasim, how can I stop you now? Go, Ya Qasim. He took al-Qasim to Zainab alayhi salam. Sister Zainab, bring me my brother Imam Hassan's cloak and his turban. Imam al-Hussein dressed al-Qasim with Imam Hassan's cloak and turban. Tears flowed from Imam Hussein and Sayyidah Zainab's eyes. looks just like our brother Hassan. He was so young that he could not mount the horse himself. Abbas, Abul Fadl alayhi salam, helped him mount the horse. The young fighter Qasim went to the battlefield. People did not know who he was. It's a 13-year-old boy. He rode out declaring, telling about himself. إن تنكروني فأنا نجل الحسن سبط النبي المصطفى والمؤتمن هذا حسين كالأمير المرتهن بين أناس لا صوب السميزان. If you don't know me, I am the son of Al-Hassan, the grandson of the chosen prophet, the entrusted one. هذا الحسين, هذا الحسين, this is Hussein. He is amongst people who shall be deprived of the clouds' rain. Qasim fought a battle history you will not forget. He was trained by his uncle Abbas. The enemy could not overpower him. While he was roaming the battlefield, his shoe strap cut off and he bent to fix it. He was very confident no one would come to touch him, because everyone that came to him, he took them out. But as he was standing after fixing his shoe, Al-A'in, one of Yazid's cowardly soldiers, came from behind and hit Qasim on the head with a sword. Qasim was covered in his blood, and he called out to his uncle, "Oh Imam Hussein, Ya Hussein, come quickly, come quickly and help me, Ya Imam." Imam Hussein alayhi salam rushed to the battlefield. When the enemies thought that Imam Hussein was coming to attack them, they got scared and they ran. As they ran, the horses ran from one side to another. Because of this, Ya Sahib al-Zaman. Because of this, the horses ran over Al-Qasim, who was on the ground. He got trampled on. It wasn't enough that they cut him, it wasn't enough that they hit him with the swords, they ran him over with their horses. صاح القاسم يا عم عبد الله أتركني صاحب صوت لن يسرع يا عمي تراني تفضلت من فيض دمي والله من الطغار قطعوا جسمي ولاد العظيم سالم ناتها الشام جاء له الإمام الحسين يشمه جلس عنده إمامنا الحسين وهو يبكي بكاء شديدا وهو يقول يعز على عمك أن تدعوه فلا يجيبك أو يجيبك ولا يعينك. Imam Hussein, when he got to Al-Qasim, what did he see? Qasim was not on peace. The horses had stamped on him and torn him into pieces. Imagine Imam Hussein's feelings. His brother Hassan's son lying, trampled into pieces. Qasim torn into pieces. His arms and legs and said to Qasim, Ya Qasim, woe unto these people who killed you. They will be answering to your grandfather on the day of judgment. Then he said, it is by Allah painful to your uncle Ya Qasim to call him and for him not to answer you, or if he answers you, he does not benefit you. He is by Allah a person whose enemies are many, and rare are his supporters. Imam Hussein alayhi salam took off his abaya, he spread it on the ground. He gathered the pieces of Qasim's body and placed them on his abaya. He then tied the abaya into a bundle. Imagine how small Qasim alayhi salam must have been if he fell into that bundle. Abu Fadl Abbas helped Imam al-Hussein carry Qasim's trampled body. When Hussein reached the camp of the ladies, he cried out, Sister Zainab, Sister Zainab, help me out, Zainab. My heart is broken, Ya Zainab. I have no strength left to carry Qasim's body to the tent. When the ladies saw Qasim, they cried. The ladies cried and did azab for Al-Qasim. Lahfi, Lahfi على وجناته بدم الوريد مخطباته جاء الحسين به إلى آخر the ladies and his mother came out crying, my son, Qasim, what have they done to you? My son Qasim, what have they done to you? Oh my son, you have died thirsty. وقاسما وشهيدا حسين يا حسين
يا حسين السلام